The mother says everything is going great here. But what's happened in the 6 months since the time the letter's been written? Right? At 2b, we look at this poem and we point out, notice that there is a certain kind of Whitman-esque type of line here. Notice it's long. Notice that you have repetitions, right? Anaphora we've talked about in an earlier lecture. Notice the use of the parenthetics. Whitman is also taking the perspective of the other. I would write this down at 2b. Whitman takes the perspective of the other, the perspective of a soldier. He himself was never a soldier, but he spent a lot of time with them, and he interviewed them, and he asked them, what were the hardest times for you? And several of the soldiers told him, nighttime, when everything gets quiet, and you can hear in your mind the artillery going off. He writes about this. And the sounds, post-traumatic stress, is a very important element in understanding the warriors who come back and their mental state. He says lots of the soldiers, they would in their dreams have nightmares. He's playing the game of taking the other perspective. Finally, at 3a, let's ask this question. What is for you your favorite films or shows about war? Jot down what is for you your favorite video game about war. What is for you the movie or the TV show that shows war in its worst moments, in its most disturbing moments? We could ask this question about texts regarding war. How many of those texts celebrate war versus maybe condemn war or show its horrors, right? Often video games will celebrate the terrible loss of life, but they'll do it in ways that make it seem like it's not very real. Although some video games are working to try and make the experience of fighting and war very real, but do they celebrate that killing versus saying how tragic it is? Where do you put this poem in that regards? Finally, 3b. What are your thoughts about serving in a war for your country? If you were called on at some point later in your life to die in war for your country, is that something you think you would be willing to do? Is that something you think you would want to do? What if you were made to do it? What if you were told you must serve your country in war and you could die? Question, do you owe your country your life? Your country, the one that you've lived in, the country that has fed you and protected you and educated you. Do you owe that country your life in war? If you are, another 3b question, if you were required to be far away in war, who would you most miss, do you think? A third question at 3b, who do you think it's harder on? The people who go away to fight in the war, the soldiers sitting next to the fitful flame, or the people back home who worry, thinking all the time, I wonder if he or she is going to come home. Who do you think it's harder on in wartime? The people who go and fight or the people who stay behind? An introduction to Walt Whitman's perspective on war, and more particularly the American Civil War. Thank you.